Redefining your business model from improving process efficiency to orchestrating the value of co-creation. With us today, distinguished guests, Anton Koller, District Energy Divisional President, Danfoss Heating, Johann Stadler, Head of Manufacturing and Industry 4.0, Hilti Group, and Aleš Temeljotov, Sales and Operations Manager, Metronik. And among the debate will be moderated by Professor Polona Domadenik from School of Economics and Business. And before I pass the words to Polona, maybe just briefly, today we will focus on main technological trends driving industries, the process of business transformation, and the tools that help us identify the core competences of a company and internal and external barriers that might arise along the transformation. And for all the questions and answers, thoughts, Polona and guests, please.
Thank you very much, Masha, for a short introduction and also for organizing the event. So there is a lot of discussion about business transformation among academics, business leaders, and even policymakers today. But we have a feeling that the most significant progress is still happening behind the curtains, far from the eyes of the interested public. So in a way, everything is hidden. Everybody are speaking about the thing, but we usually don't know really what is going behind. So the business transformation in the context of digital ecosystems and platform economy is not disrupting only information-intensive industries, but is developing at a fast pace with Internet of Things, automation, virtual reality, and additive manufacturing, also in traditional manufacturing sector. So the businesses therefore need to consider how digital technologies can be used, not only to enhance their products and processes. Usually this is what we refer with digitalization, to improve the processes, the efficiency of the processes, but also to reinvent the business model as such. So today's conversation is, I hope, will shed the light on the bright and on a bit less bright, like the pain points, as Masha already mentioned, along the path of business transformation. I'm very pleased that we have three renowned business speakers today from manufacturing, construction, and IT industry that will share their transformative stories with us. And since the present and also the future is in the co-creation, so I really ask the audience, please ask the questions and help us creating an awesome event. So let me first start with Anton, who comes from Danfoss company. So the Danfoss is a Danish multinational company employing more than 37,000 employees globally. It's recognized as a developer, manufacturer, and seller of engineering products used in air conditioning, food refrigerators, heating system, and many other industries. So the company in a way represents an important stakeholders in energy transition to low carbon future, and as a world-leading industrial manufacturer of energy efficient solutions. So Anton, please share with us, with our audience, what was your transformative journey in, let's say, past 5 years or even more?
Yeah. Thanks for being here today and sharing my thoughts. I think, yes, there are many transformations we have made, but I think it's important when you look at trends always. So we have some mega trends in the world, like digitalization, you mentioned already, urbanization, we have the decarbonization, of course, and we have also the food side, which is changing a lot. And I think important for a company is always then to make a decisive decision on what transformation you are on and what you really want to do with that. Yeah? Because these trends are coming, and yes, your business model is under pressure, and you need to take choices. I think this is really important, that you are not running behind a trend, but that you read a trend and taking the lessons out, what you want to do with that then. I think this is very important to understand this. And yes, for us, of course, is as we are living from energy efficiency, so all our products in our portfolio are really all around energy efficiency. So this energy transition is extremely important for us. Yeah. And I think this is also what we say is important in the sense that we need also to live it by ourselves. So I think we put a lot of focus on that also our factories, our setups and footprints are moving towards efficient setups. So we are also a company who signed up to the climate agreements and to the climate targets on a science-based targets. And I think this is also important in these days. Big challenges you solve with science and not with voodoo. Yeah. So I think it's also when you think about the virus, sometimes an important topic to be reminded. And I think this is around this transformation that we are going through now.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just a short question before we continue. Are you satisfied with the agreement just being reached last week in Scotland?
Yeah, this is a lot of politician talk. I think these
Mm-hmm.
COPs should not be overrated. I think I have been myself on COPs for many years. And I think it's good that the dialogue is going on and that there is, talk and finding compromises. I think this is maybe the bigger value than the individual targets. And I think the real transformation regarding digitalization at the moment is, from my point of view, not happening anymore on the national level. It is happening today on the city level and on the company level.
Mm-hmm.
These are really the drivers because they are the one who are exposed. Yeah? So we as a company are exposed. We want to do something good. Our employees asking for that. So we are really chasing to reduce the CO2. And on the other hand, you can also look at the cities. I think 70% of the cities in Europe have already a clear view how they like to decarbonize. Yeah, maybe it's further out in the future. Yes, some cities are a little bit innovative. They already want to be decarbonized by 2030, some 2040, but they are thinking really what to do. And I think on that high level, it's more, I would say, political game and a little bit power games and not so relevant anymore, I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. So Johann comes from Hilti. Hilti Corporation is a Liechtenstein multinational company with more than 30,000 employees globally, present in more than 120 countries that design and manufacture leading-edge technology, software, and services for the construction, building maintenance, services for the construction, energy and manufacturing industries, mainly to the professional end users. So its technological solutions could be seen in different inspiring projects like the famous bullet train in Japan, Max Ivy Lab in Sweden, US Bank Stadium, and also tunnels deep under some of the largest cities in the world. But as such, the company, the Hilti company, was the one who kind of, challenged the dominant logic of the industry. The core of your value proposition are customized solution for your customers. You developed also a unique digital ecosystem that builds on the data from interactions happening on the construction sites. So how was your transformation journey, Johann?
So, thank you. I mean, I would say, how is our transformation journey? I think we are not over it. We are starting. I think, as Anton said before, I mean, the mega trends are clear. I will start with sustainability, a quick one. We recently started with an international label called EcoVadis, and we got rated gold. And we are the only supplier in our range with has this sustainable award in gold. That's just a starting point for us. But we said, and we started the company, or the company was started with getting unique products for our customers. And then we evolved a bit and said, a product is not enough. I mean, you don't only sell the drill hammer to the guy, even though we are known for the drill hammers most often, and they say, "Hey, where is my Hilti?" But the question is it everything that you can offer? And then we changed our model to sell also services around that, saying, "Hey, the customer doesn't necessarily need the drill hammer to own. He wants the service of the drill hammer. So we leased the drill hammer to them, which we called fleet management, which was setting us apart from our competition. And then we said, okay, now we leased the stuff. What is the next big thing? And then we developed software for the customer. And now we even thought, okay, we always do small steps in one direction. What is actually the essence that the customer needs? And think about like that. If you take a drill hammer in hand, you don't want the drill hammer, you want the hole. You want the hole in the wall. And why don't we sell the hole to the customer? Because this is what he wants. And if you think from that perspective, it's quite obvious that you need to change a lot, because you need to know how many holes come to which walls, and which customer did that, and what is the price for one hole, and what are all the technology ecosystems that you need to really do that. And I think that's quite unique from us. And as we are one of the companies which are very high priced, we need to invest in research and development, and we always need to set us apart from our competition, because otherwise simply nobody will pay the money for our products. And I would say the special thing about digitalization for us is that in recent innovations, 90% plus are coming from digital innovations. And we could not leave this field completely out. And that's the reason why we invest in that one. And we build things like a robot which is drilling and moving on the job site, where now we see that this is quite interesting, because it helps us to cope with COVID situation if you have nobody who needs to drill anymore. But it also enables other very nice business topics like prefabrication, that we deliver to the job site just in time, prefabricated materials and so on. And we believe that with all this data and digitalization, we can offer much more value to the customer. And we also believe that we do not know yet what is the next big thing. We know that the next big thing will come, and we will be very quick in adopting to it, and we will quicker than our competition, which helps us to get our supreme position in the market sustainably defended and even increased over the next years. That's what we do.
Wow, impressive. So you don't know yet what the next big thing will be?
If I would know,
Yes.
I would know, I would bet on that one, and I would be a rich man. I don't have to work anymore. No?
Okay. No.
Unfortunately, I don't know.
I thought you are working because it's a challenge for you, just
That's for sure. No,
solving
but I mean,
business issues. Yeah.
I mean, if somebody would know what are the next big things in the next 5 years, if they really would know, we would see way less people working and more people enjoying it. And yeah, that's my belief, that we think that we know, but what turns out then, if we look back, then most likely this is not the things that made it that we thought about it that would make it.
Some things happens like very, big surprise, right? Also, some people sometimes already said few things about that, but yeah, I agree with you. So then our third speaker, Aleš Temeljotov, he comes from Metronik, and Metronik is the Slovene company, the leading company for automation, process control, and digitalization in the manufacturing and construction industry, with a strong presence coming from Slovenia, but with a strong presence in the CE region. So the company is privately owned with more than 30 years of operation and 160 employees. And Metronik has built its reputation as an innovative provider of automation system and IT solutions for digitalization, for Industry 4.0, smart buildings, and critical infrastructure. So in short, Aleš, you are a helping hand for those who want to do the digital transformation process, who are pursuing this process. But first, let me ask you whether you were also, as the company, were you also, in a way of the business transformation yourself?
Yes. So good afternoon also from my side, and thanks for having me. Yes, that's an interesting question, because on one hand, we provide the solutions that enable our partners to transform their business, optimize their processes, increase the quality, energy efficiency, and reach other benefits. But on the other hand, of course, we are a company as well, right? You mentioned we work in the fields of smart buildings, automation, digitalization of critical infrastructure. But one important area is also Industry 4.0. And as you know, today we are talking a lot about digitalization. This is an interesting trend which we saw with the decreasing prices, the plummeting prices of sensorics, the increases in computing power, which enabled a boom of digitalization, let's say in industry, touching now on Industry 4.0. And 5 years ago, we as a company also felt this boom in an increasing rise of projects. So throughout Europe, we do projects from Ireland to Russia, Denmark, Germany, down to Bulgaria. And because of an abundance of these projects on digitalization, all of a sudden, we saw our company in 2 or 3 years double in size, so in the size of employees, and more than triple in terms of revenues. So this, of course, generated the need for the company to transform as well, right? So if you have, let's say, the same skeleton on which you were used to doing operations for 25 years, but then all of a sudden, you apply twice as much meat on this skeleton. Of course, it's not a good foundation. I mean, it cannot be a good foundation for the next stage of the company. So this as well, meant that we needed to reorganize certain departments, introduce new processes, introduce new, let's say, tools, IT tools that help us in our day-to-day business. And finally, also with the digitalization trend, things are always moving. If we, as an IT company and automation company, if we want to be successful, we always need to be at the forefront of the development. And that's why we also need to invest a lot in R&D. And again, if you are competing, let's say, in a small environment from where Metronik started, and expanded then in more international environment, not so international as Danfoss and Hilti, but still, we are working on projects around Europe. If we want to be competitive, we need to invest a lot in R&D, and we need constantly adapt, change, transform, not just internally, but also externally with our product mix, observe the trends, observe the new technologies, the possibilities that can be done. And this also then resulted in our transformation, introduction of new products, new services, new business models for different markets and industries, all with the aim that we help our clients reap the benefits that the technological advance has enabled in the last 5 or 10 years.
I'm not going to ask you directly about your clients, but in general, which industries do you think, not from your client perspective, but in general, which industries are facing the biggest challenge of business transformation today?
I think there's no, let's say, clear answer in the sense that, I would name industries 1, 2, and 3. But what we observe, especially in this post-corona environment, is that after the initial shock, so last year in spring 2020, when things went still throughout all industries, some industries picked up very fast. So there were industries which faced an increasing demand, let's say pharmaceuticals, certain segments of food and beverage industry that needed to adapt very fast to the rising demand. This brings a certain set of challenges that require new tools, process improvements, greater flexibility in the production. But these challenges are, let's say, sweet challenges, right? When you have a lot of demand, and you just need to adapt and change a little bit your processes, introduce new tools to increase the output. On the other hand, we had industries such as let's say automotive suppliers, which are feeling the shock maybe little bit differently, right? So in the end, the demand in those industries plummeted, right? And with the supply chain disruptions that we observe also in this year, this is then putting, I would say, maybe a bigger strain on such companies, since you have a big need to change, to increase in flexibility. You never know, which materials will be late, how to schedule your production, how to optimize the processes, and improve also planning. And you have to do all this while your demand is, let's say, facing significant shocks. And also from the supply side, you're facing the pressures, which means that with more limited resources, you have to reach more. So I would say this is a challenge. So if the companies are in such an industry that has all these factors combined, I would say this is the in my opinion, one of the more challenging situations where you can be much more than if it's the other way around and you have more demand which you need to fulfill. I mean, still there is pressure, because if you as a company will not fulfill it, maybe your competitors will. Still requires fast turnaround times, a lot of let's say activities also in the field of digitalization, but the context of the environment is different.
Yeah. Okay, I see. So thank you very much for your answer. So now let me again, giving the possibility to the audience to co-create this event, ask questions, write comments. We have one now about the Hilti. Perhaps, Johann, you would like to comment on it? You have already seen it in the comment section. So the Aleš is saying that we need more than a whole. We need picture on TV within. The whole is not the end stage, even for Hilti.
That's absolutely correct. So Aleš, thank you for that. I mean, that is, it's not about that one. And as I said, I don't know what is in the next 5 years. If you know what is the next big thing in 5 years, come and reach out and tell me. I mean, the things that we do is like building information modeling, is getting more digital plans, which now a lot of in construction industry, a lot of more companies and governments demand us. And we are here on the forefront. I mean, we invested significantly. We also had an acquisition just yesterday posted of a big company called Fieldwire in the US, a market leading company in digital construction sites. So we are heavily investing in that one, and we believe that we are set up best for the future by continue repeating myself, not knowing what is now the real demand in the future, just going on the way and quickly adopt to the changes that will come. That's it. But thanks for the comment, and absolutely correct.
Anton, how energy transformation connected with digitalization will impact your business? So the Danfoss business.
Yeah, I think that is what we're working on. I think this is, I think digitalization for sure will, I would say, enable a lot what we want to achieve. Yeah, so I think when you look now on this energy transition, which is for sure one of the biggest challenge ahead of us with decarbonizing our energy systems, then I think one thing is very important, that we first drive forward the energy efficiency, because the less energy we need to bring the renewables, the easier it is. So the energy we don't need to transfer, that's an easy one. And I think so, and digitalization will help us to reach that stage, meaning to get more energy efficiency. So I think with digitalization, we know that, for example, in a district energy environment, a district heating environment, we can save today more than around 25% primary energy. So we're talking about huge steps, what is possible. But of course, it's also, so to say, really then a full end-to-end integration of digital possibilities. So from understanding what the building is doing and optimizing the building and utilizing the building as a heat storage, and optimizing the heat distribution and the production sources. Yeah, and I think I think I agree with Johann that we don't know exactly what comes next, but I think we are very clear on what is the road. We don't know maybe, or the direction at least. Yeah, so it's a clear end-to-end digitalization for us, and we know very well, so to say, how systems will develop. I think in infrastructure maybe it's a little bit more long-term view on this, and of course how it plays out in a different area is difficult to say. And of course, I think at the moment of time, a lot of variables are moving. Yeah, so I think we see new laws coming in from the European side. We see new regulation on CO2, and nearly every country has a new idea how they can achieve this and which regulation is needed. So I think a lot of things are coming here on the same time. And I think this decarbonization, now I talk a lot about energy. Yeah, that's of course, I think the heart of it, but I think it plays out also on everything, because it also means then that suddenly products are getting CO2. So raw materials are getting a CO2 tag. You get a CO2 tag depending on where you produce, because you have suddenly transportation cost inside. So I think this transformation on the energy side is I would say, disrupting a lot of our industries. So it's not only transformation as such, but I think it goes a bit further.
Yeah, I guess that this energy is, moving to the renewables is now disrupting everybody, the industry and the citizens and the policymakers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Specific. Yeah. Johann, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I have a question. I mean, we always think about saving energy and getting the problem from we consume less. Do you imagine, Anton, that we all will live long enough to see the point where energy is not the problem anymore, that renewable energy will be so much renewable energy will be there that we don't discuss about that one, and the whole optimization becomes more or less irrelevant because it's enough there, like enough sunlight is there. I mean, also the plants don't care about how efficient they are, because there is enough energy there. So would you see that we go to that trend as well, or is it too far and nobody
I think
talks
we need
about
to
that
get
one?
very, very old if we like to reach that. No, but I think jokes aside, I think it's energy is not energy. Yeah. So I think in energy we have different classes of energy, you can say. So when you talk about where we are in heating, for example, to heat your home you need 40 degrees. So that I think this kind of energy we have more than sufficient on waste energy, just to collect it and distribute it, take it from a data center, take it from a waste incineration plant, whatever. Yeah. So that's relatively easy. The shower and the hot bath is a little bit hotter, is also easy to be done. I think everything what is then above 100 degrees, I think is also good solvable. And we are on the way to do this with heat pumps. So everything what is then between 100 and 200 degrees, I think is good done with technology. And here, yes, you can use then renewable electricity, and I think that is also good. But I think we have a lot of heavy industry where we need temperatures above 600 degrees, or crackers in the chemical industry is 1400 degrees. So this is where we need hydrogen. And hydrogen, when you look at hydrogen, it's not that you just can take solar PV 1-to-1. No, it's you have solar PV 100%, and then to convert it and come to hydrogen, you are on 30%, energy efficiency. Yeah. So I think this we need to take into consideration of when you look at this. So I think this is the big journey. And the other big journey I think you're all aware of is energy storage. Yeah. So that we really can store the energy in an efficient way. I think it's easy for heat because water is easy to store, and you can store it even about seasonality. But on electricity, it's a bit more tricky. Yeah.
This is a kind of a medium run scenario, right? On the long run, now lots of emphasis is being put on the fusion technology to create the energy, but it will be probably in 100 years or even more.
When I was studying as a young boy on the technical university, then we were talking fusion is coming soon. and
Okay.
and I think it's still not soon. So I think it's a pretty way to go. I think.
Still a lot of work for Danfoss, right, to do.
Yes.
But along the transformation journey, what were the barriers, internal and external, that you were encountering, that you had to face with, or you're still facing? Perhaps Anton and then Johann also, if you can comment on that.
Yeah, I think the clarity what you want to up for, this transformation as we described it is huge now on our side, this energy transition. So you need to be very clear on what value we like to bring to the table. And our value, what we bring to the table, is clearly energy efficiency. And this energy efficiency is not only on our, traditional products, but it's also on the digital level. So our products are getting more smarter, but not only that, we're also bringing software layers to really optimize end to end for the customer exactly on energy efficiency and nothing else, so to say. Yeah. So because it's so easy that you like to do this and that, and there are so many opportunities, but I think whatever you do, you like to be best in class. Otherwise, you will not succeed. We need to be the best on the market. So you need to be also firm. What is your core and what is your value to the customer? I think this is something which is very important to succeed, but particularly in very dynamics environment, and a lot of new things is coming. Yeah.
Any other barriers to add, Johann, perhaps also from the internal environment, like from the people, from the workforce?
Yeah, I mean, I can fully agree with Anton. That's absolutely important. In addition, I think a big barrier are people. I mean, all of us. I mean, talk to guys, and I take internal digitalization as an example. You have people who have an engineering degree like I had, or I have, and they have 30 years of experience and were really senior jobs in optimizing things which are more linear to optimize. You put something better in and the outcome will be better, and you small optimize it. Like I call it German engineering over decades, super cool. But if you go into digitalization, then you need to completely change your way you approach that. You cannot only small steps. You see it on the companies who are rising up like mushrooms, and then go down also quite quick. So that changed the game. So I tell the guys always, you need to think like a guy who is digging for gold in the Wild West, going out, investing in some gear, going there, and then he finds one nugget, and the one nugget it pays off. And the best one was the one who never found a nugget, who put something in the ground and some brownish thing come out. And then Mr. Rockefeller said, "Okay, good. Then I take this one, and I become not a gold digger. I become an oil giant." I mean, that's a bit the mindset that we need, and not a lot of people really are now ready to take that, because that means out of 10 times, 8, 9 times, 7 times, you have mistakes and you have if no success, and you need to cope with that. And the one thing that you hit, then you maybe need to completely switch swiftly your direction of the company. Very hard for a lot of people, and for me at least a big challenge to really get the people on that way, and having discussions of we cannot burn money. I mean, in the end, we cannot afford doing nothing, because that is really burning money. So we need to gamble a bit on the right things, and that's a difficult discussion. At least I don't know how it's in your companies, but for us it is quite difficult.
Anton, did you have the same experience in Danfoss, or are you facing the same
I
dynamic?
completely agree to this what Johann said. I think this transformation on capabilities of our own people is one of the a very, very challenging thing, particularly when we move out from the mechanical to the software part. And I think also this acceptance in companies that you need invest in something which is not turning immediately into profit. Yeah. And we are very much profit driven company, and then you're competing out with startups which are burning money for 10 years. So putting in more and more investments from venture capital and just burning millions, not moving, and you are competing with these guys. I think this is a bit, this is sometimes really, really challenging to get here. I think the right understanding, which makes sense. Yeah. So maybe sometimes it's not always sense what these startups are doing and burning money, but I think it's really also to allow that you fail in a certain extent. Yeah. And also explore. So I always say we are in a kind of exploring the right business model with creating the right digital infrastructure, digital tools, and then we explore together with customers how we convert that into the value and how we create value for our customers in the right way.
True. So the digital ecosystem in a way, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's really, I mean, you need to change the mindset. So Aleš, is it difficult to change mindsets of your customers who are coming to reach for your advice?
Yeah, I mean, no, those are good points that Johann and Anton made on the, let's say, outbound market-facing side of the transformation. Then there's also the internal side of it. So the transformation, if you want to offer something new to a market or if you want to do something better, of course, you need to realign also internal processes. You need to have, let's say, some sort of an idea, a vision from which you comprise a strategy, right? And then the actions and initiatives that take you to the final goal. And here, the same goes for us as a company and for, let's say, many of our clients, is that you need to ask yourself two questions connected to the people. One, do I have the right capabilities to execute the whole strategy, fulfill the vision, and come to the end goal that we set at the beginning? And two, are we cohesive? So do we have buy-in from all the stakeholders within the company, or are there certain differences in either the vision or the execution? So do we have everyone in the company on the same page, right? Because the first and the second question, for one and two, you need to find the answer. You need to come to a solution. So if you don't have the capabilities internally, if you cannot secure them internally from the resources that you have, it's always sensible to find an external partner who supports the journey, the transformation journey. And the second part, it's important to have all the key stakeholders included from the very start. So if we are talking in a context of a production, you have operations, you have maintenance, you have IT, you have engineering teams. And of course, you have the leadership, right? And you need to align very fast if you want to come to the goal and to reap the benefits that the digitalization and the transformation can offer. So did I answer the question or?
Sure. So now, in the meantime, we also received a very interesting question by Nives. So Nives said that the average age of employees in Slovenia is 43, and they are not yet ready to work in the, in the environment or in the industry 4.0 or 5.0. So they are quite, their digital literacy is quite low. So how to motivate employees to invest in their, upgrading their digital skills in general, especially the older employees? Probably you don't have many older employees, right? Unless you're the IT company. So it's a bit, this problem is probably less severe, but perhaps to comment in the context to your customer.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, we as a company now, we are 160 people strong. We also have people who are, let's say, in the, let's say, a bit older segment. But anyway, there are many initiatives going on, also supported from the government in competence building of digital skills, right? So this is definitely the way to go. Subsidies, different programs being offered to enhance their capabilities, their competencies, and this is the only way, how people can remain as a person competitive in the job market, if they want to advance, if they want to contribute successfully in the environments in which they are working. This is the only path to go. And I think it's good that also the national strategies of let's say Slovenia and other European countries recognize this as a challenge, and they are actively working on supporting companies and individuals on this path.
Johann, how do you motivate your employees?
I want to provoke a bit. I would say it's rather simple. I mean, if I want that somebody, and regardless if it's now digitalization or not, I need to talk with the people and say, what is in it for you? Why are you doing that? So what is motivating you? Or why are you not doing that? And then you get interesting answers from, I'm scared of never. I had last week a guy working 50 years for Hilti on the same machine. At home, he has no electricity. I was not even aware of people living like that, and we could convince him to say. And he said, why do you put this kind of thing here? And then we talked to him and said, okay, you just click here and here, and then you don't have to do all of that, and this paperwork is gone. Right now, he said, I will consider here also getting connected to electricity. So, I mean, funny story, but in the end, you talk with people and you ask them, why do you not join, or what is the topic? And a lot of times it's fear, and they want not to show that they're not capable of. And I think one specific thing that we are doing, we send especially some interns and apprentices to senior managers, because here the distance is so big that they have no problem asking a question, because this is like 5 layers of hierarchy in between. If I go there, then they will pretend that they know everything and I know and whatever, just to show the strength. And I think we need to break that up, and all of us need constantly to learn. And I think, Nives, if you manage to have this open discussion, if you engage also very junior ones with older ones. The older ones have the competency of the job. The younger ones have the digital competency. Bring that together. Make it an environment where there is a trust, and everybody knows what's in it for him. I think then you are on the right way.
Collaborative culture, let's say it like that, in one way or another, but everything starts with the leader, right? Anton, any other thoughts or insights about your leadership skills?
No, I think one very important point here, I think also the diversity or team structures. Yeah, so I think that you really also ensure that you have diverse teams from the age groups, yeah, and that you're really also making sure that the experiences are shared. Yeah, I think that's important. The other part I think is important is that we are clear on purpose. Yeah, so why we are doing what, and what is, so to say, the things, and then offering, I would say, people the opportunities which is coming with this. I think there, as Johann said, it's very much also what is in for them, and I think that is the opportunity. And I think the bigger pain point I see at the moment, more on the blue collar side than on the white collar people. I think, of course, engineers are also struggling to make the move into that one. But I think what we see also with the automatization, what Aleš was presenting, is that I think we need to have much more, education on people who are in these complex lines, and in Industry 4.4 environment, you need people who have a much deeper understanding what goes on. So it's not, the pure simple work is at least in our factory, is very fast disappearing. Yeah.
I mean, that's, I think, super important that we explain that this is opportunities to have more interesting jobs, and you will not reach 100%. We have people who say, I want to go with a forklift, and and I'm 30 years old, and I want to go for the next 40 years, I would want to stand on a forklift. Then I can tell, okay, this I will not be able to offer. Then you need to go somewhere else. But if you say, hey, instead of standing on the forklift, I'm interested in going with automated guided vehicles and trying to optimize their routes and designing all of that, and you're willing to do so, and we can offer you qualifications to have a job which can offer more to you. And as said, you will not reach everybody, but the majority, I think, can be upskilled. And last sentence, which is very important to me, for me, age is not a selective criteria. So I know people who are way over 60 and they can do things with the smartphones where I have no clue about that one. And I knew guys which have guys with a starting 20 who have no clue and can just Google something. So I would not say that we should not shy away from that one. And I think that is not a criterion. If we make that as a point and we discuss about that, and then we have a pointless discussion. I would say, hey, regardless how old you are, what's in it for you, how can we upskill you? And I would guess that most of the guys older than 43 in Slovenia have also smartphones and use them at home. So trust more in them. They can do also more, and regardless of the age.
Yeah, I completely agree. If I may just add a little bit to it, yeah, it's. I mean, one thing is the whole education that you can offer to improve their skills. But yeah, it's important for them as well. I mean, very important. What's in it for them? Why they need to change? What will they achieve through change or through building their competencies? And yeah, here we quickly come also to the corporate culture, right? So if we have a progressive corporate culture, which is, let's say, stimulating innovation, which is stimulating people to always reach higher, to acquire new knowledges, this also is, let's say, a factor in this whole process of competence building in digital way, not just for people, let's say, in 40s, 50s, 60s, but also for younger ones. I mean, I agree with Johann. This is not just a thing of age, but also about personal motivation, corporate culture, and then the possibilities. How can a company support someone to become better, not just at their job, but just like generally to improve themselves?
I mean, I think we are over that discussion of how old are you defines how capable you are, as well as we are over the discussion that your sex or your religion or whatever defines the capability that you have. And I think, at least for us, it's not a discussion, and I think that's the good thing that this is a non-topic, and that should be it. I would like to comment, if you allow me, on one of the questions from Aleš, from the chat. Sorry for that. Who said, what comes in future? Customers who want even higher customer experience and so on. I would challenge that a bit, because we see now in Corona pandemic things, customers want simply to get delivered. So the value of a robust supply chain and a resilient supply chain were outperforming a lot of other topics. Costs, I mean, we see in our environment a price rally. We increase prices and everybody is increasing prices, and nobody has a big problem with that. The problem is, do I get the stuff? And I think that was very underestimated, and we win a lot of deals because we can deliver. And here it shows that always higher, faster, cheaper, and so on is not the way to go, because from your suppliers you only get good things and still material in harsh time and in hard times when you have a good relationship. Because if you are the one who is always paying the least price, you will be the first one who get not delivered, and that will kick you out. So we made a huge learning that this is a big benefit of treating your suppliers, your vendors, your partners in a good way, because that will pay off in this situation, and that also helps you now to scale faster. Again, so that is a big learning, and that is definitely different than and customers value that more, I would say, than faster, cheaper, and so on. I don't know how is it in your industries, but for us, I would say that is definitely a big learning that we had.
Okay, here at this point, if you have more questions, please hurry up because we have 10 minutes left and you see that our guests are very, into it to answer all the questions that you ask. So, but let me ask another question. So very interesting speakers and I'm really eager to hear what is the most interesting project you're currently working on or your team. Anton, can we start with you?
I think there are so many projects, but I think I think the interesting thing is that I would say this transformation on, and I think we are very much an engineering company, so we are doing things, developing, and then I think with digitalization, data are coming in. So and data are rewriting rules, yeah. So before we always did precise calculation, what is the result, and then we do it like that. But now you get a lot of data, and I think you can get with data maybe faster to a result, which is maybe not always 100%, but 99% it's the right result. So, and I think this is really, really exciting because you can do different things, yeah, and you can do also faster things, and you can also, provide value which you would not have thought that you can provide that, yeah, in an extent what also customers are surprised that this is possible, and I think this is what is making so relevant. And I think for me personally, I think it's also really cool that you see that you're working on this energy transition, where you really contribute to something what we believe all is one of our main challenges these days of decarbonizing our society. So, and I think this is what I think inspiring our people and myself, and I think this is what we are striving for. Yeah.
Johann, the new robot you're working on, Jybot, is the new version is coming. This is your passion.
I would say that the passion is threefold, and I make it quick. The three things which I think are most impressive is the return of engineering, I call it, with 3D printing and organic ways of doing. I mean, you can now plan a square hole in things, or completely organic forms, which you could not do before. That is for me really the return of the engineering. One big thing. Second thing, that like Anton said, everything regarding big data, what we can do with this. And the third big thing is all the connectivity and how the parts play together inside a company or also outside on the job site. I think that is super interesting, and I don't know what will have the biggest impact in the end, but all of them have significant impact, and all of them are super interesting in my eyes.
Yes, very exciting. And Aleš, what's the most exciting project for you now that you're working on?
Right. Yeah, so I would also structure actually the answer into three parts. So one thing is the automation of complex processes. Here, I mean, the result is actually at the client side, so I can't really describe it in this environment. But automation definitely one of the interesting areas in which we are working. The second one, with the abundance of data that Anton also mentioned, are new solutions for digitalization. So how to easily reap the data from the processes, analyze it, and come to some actionable insights. And the third one, so we in the second one, just to finish the sentence, we are let's say coming up with new solutions which should be let's say publicly informed. I mean, the public will be informed about them shortly. And the third one, since we are an IT company, and then we have automation digitalization tools, it wouldn't look good if we haven't entered yet the data science and machine learning areas. These are the trends that are on the rise. And here again, we are developing certain solutions which again, we'll be on the market at certain point in time, and happy to talk about them more in detail when they're out.
And now, since we are slowly approaching to the end of our interesting conversation, I would like that you just imagine for a moment that we wake up in 2050. Aleš, what do you think? How your industry will look like in 2050?
Yeah, that's interesting question. It's always a bit hard to make such predictions. But what I can say is that we see, let's say, the next stage in digitalization where artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science will be more broadly implemented, resulting in the next leap of productivity. So if we are today, let's say, well into the digitalization phase, the second phase, where we are, working with a lot of data from the process, in the next stage, which probably will happen in the next 30 years, that we'll have more and more autonomous processes, more and more connected machines, which will, in the end, generate even more data, but it will be, online optimization, communication, and coordination among the machines. I hope it's not too bold of a prediction. I mean, time will tell, but this is where the trends are going.
Mm-hmm. Anton, what about Danfoss? So no fusion energy yet, so still lots of work for Danfoss, but how the industry will look like in about 30 years from today?
Yeah, so that's very far out, but I think it's when we look at the next 10 years, I think a lot of things will happen from the digitalization what we see today and now. And I think on trends, yes, I think a little bit what Aleš said, I think it's also, production will be more customized. Yeah? So we will produce, piece per piece, we will produce exactly what, and I think this mass production is maybe not dying out, but is limited. I think you would really like to customize in production a lot to customer needs. And I think you will add a lot on services on top. So digital services, other enhancement to strengthen your value proposition. And that goes, I could say, in many directions. Yeah. I think these are the core things we see at this moment of time. And when you look at 2050, when we see that some cities want to be, changed by and CO2 neutral by 2030, some 2040, some 2050. So there's a lot to come. And I think technology changes are so fast. But I think what we maybe didn't talk so much, but I think what will change also a lot in the long term is this in regarding more on sustainability, on the raw materials, for which raw materials we are really using. I think this will be definitely a change. And also on how products are used and repairable. Yeah, I think this repairability is particularly in the engineering world, had been high. Then 30 years ago, a lot had been then changed to one-time use. And I think this repairability on products is most likely coming back in big times. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Johann, construction, how the construction industry will look at in 30 years?
Good question. I could say most likely not my problem. How it looks like. Really hard to predict. I think a lot will be automated. A lot of robots will do the job, and the question is how sustainable buildings will be. Will we renew them more? Will we tear down everything after 10 years, or do we have long-lasting ones? I don't know. I mean, it could also be that we pop up small houses only for the lifespan of 20 years and then completely recycle them and build them up again, or we change our housing in the private sector to something which is very fast moving, because we need just a big house for 10, 15 years and then smaller ones. I don't know. I mean, the cool thing is I'm looking forward to take the steps on that journey, and let's see where it leads us. For sure, it will be interesting, and happy to be part of that one.
So this is more than perfect for the conclusion of our talk. We don't have any questions yet, so now I pass the word to Masha. Thanks again to all guests and also our audience who participated with the questions. Well done, I say.
Before I thank you all, Polona, now I will ask you how your industry is going to look like in 30 years.
I just hope that it's not going to be only online, because I really miss the personal contacts. And now you can imagine how this talk would be if it would be in one big hall with the audience all together. I think even better than now.
I will then end up this online talk with your thoughts. Thank you all the guests, Polona, for leading this discussion. And of course, thanks to all who were with us. And join us also on our future events. And don't miss our future events. And stay tuned also on CPOEF.se. And thank you until next time. Bye bye.
Yeah. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.